From Robert Downey Jr.'s impeccable performance as Iron Man to Henry Cavill as The Witcher, here are 10 actors who were born for their roles. Number 10. Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. Iron Man quite literally jump-started the entire MCU and took Marvel to a whole new level of success, all because Robert Downey Jr. gave the role his all.
That I was the Atlas of the Marvel Universe.
It's hard to imagine the MCU getting as big as it did without him. Before he took on the role, his life was plagued by legal and addiction issues, but he decided to clean up his act and become Tony Stark. And well, ever since, he's Iron Man first, Robert later. Number 9. Heath Ledger as the Joker. It's not easy to slip into a particularly dark character, but Heath Ledger seemed to do it to a perfect degree. And it wasn't just because he was staying true to the source material, he actually wanted to put in the work for it. He created a character in his mind and wanted his Joker to be really different to the previous renditions. Turns out he and the director really saw eye to eye about the direction.
And I sat down in front of Chris and I gave him my ideas, and they were identical to his ideas.
And well, he didn't stop there. Right before the shooting started, Heath went into hiding. He isolated himself completely for 6 weeks, interacting with no one at all, and even forced himself into extreme insomnia just so he'd be in the perfect mindset to play the Joker. So by the time he got out, he barely had to act. The character was just flowing through him. Number 8. Christian Bale as Patrick Bateman. Throughout the years, we've seen Christian Bale really give every character his all. The man doesn't even sign up unless he knows he can do a character justice. But for the role of Patrick Bateman, he went above and beyond because he connected with the character so much. The craziest part is that when the movie was in early production, no one but the director believed in him.
She really put herself on the line, and I so appreciate that because she had so many known actors who were stepping up and wanted to do it, and she just said, no, I want Christian.
So, the two of them got together and worked to bring on producers that would actually want to put money into the film. And even though he only got $1 million for the film, which was even less than the makeup artists got, he was adamant that he wanted to do it. And with all of that effort, Patrick just flowed out of him. No wonder the film ended up being a cult classic. Number 7. Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow. Even though Captain Jack Sparrow was a very particular type of person, Johnny Depp made it seem like he didn't even have to work very hard to portray him. What he brought to the table were his ideas and thoughts about Jack. Those really made the iconic character pop on screen.
So I incorporated my notes into character and brought that character to life. Much to the chagrin of Disney, initially.
His input went so far into it that a lot of the most famous catchphrases in the movie were actually just him improvising. This is the type of stuff no other actor could have done with the role. Number 6. Jennifer Lawrence as Katniss Everdeen. Playing a lead character in a movie that's directly adapted from a book isn't easy by any means. There are so many people that have imagined their own version of that character that you have to be absolutely perfect for it to translate well on screen. Jennifer Lawrence was undoubtedly perfect to be playing Katniss Everdeen.
I felt like Katniss and I had a lot in common.
She's just complicated and mysterious enough to be Katniss, but brings in that extra Jennifer spark that keeps her from being too serious and boring. A perfect cocktail for the perfect character. Number 5. Tom Hiddleston as Loki. Playing villains takes a lot of work, but to play a villain so well that he actually turns into an anti-hero, borderline actual hero, is a whole other ballgame. And that's exactly what Tom Hiddleston did as Loki. He first brought the character to life in the MCU movies, and then took the character to new heights in the TV show, and that really blew the fans away.
But the thing that I knew I was useful would be my experience, my physical experience of how this character behaves and thinks and moves and responds to various different external stimuli, whether they are events or characters or people.
And to think he never even auditioned for the role. He tried out for Thor, but the casting directors ended up calling him for Loki instead. Sounds crazy, but that's just him landing exactly where he was supposed to. Number 4. Tom Hanks as Forrest Gump. Even though Tom Hanks puts his heart and soul into every character he takes up, Forrest Gump just hits different.
You can't really quite encapsulate it. It doesn't really work to say, well, a guy's on a park bench telling you about his life, and it's the most fantastic life you've ever come across.
There were so many layers to Forrest, but Tom worked on each of them. Even the accent was totally his idea. He had a conversation with the actor playing young Forrest, and instead of teaching him how to adapt a new accent, he decided to incorporate the young actor's natural accent instead. And he did it so well that most people thought that Tom created the accent himself. Number 3. Alan Rickman as Severus Snape. You can't imagine the Harry Potter movies without the iconic Severus Snape. There was literally no character like him, but it was really Alan Rickman's love and dedication for the role that really made him stand out on screen.
There was more to him than met to the eye.
Alan not only nailed the scary teacher aspect of the role, but he knew how to bring in that special humor that was still dark, but perfect to spice up the character just enough to make it his own. In the end, we all got the Snape that not only made us all shudder, but laugh and cry too. Number 2. Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones. When actors feel deeply connected to a role, they research about it in such a detailed way that you get a portrayal that goes deeper than even the book series can. That's what Harrison Ford did with his portrayal of Indiana Jones.
I wanted to know more about Indiana Jones. I wanted the things that he did to be generated out of his character, out of his nature, out of his experience.
He slipped into the character so perfectly that no one can ever think about replacing him. He first got the role at 39, and now he's 81 and still playing the role, proving that he was literally born to play Ford. Number 1. Henry Cavill as The Witcher. It's one thing to be a great researcher for the role you're going to be playing, and another to be an absolute superfan dying to play the part. Henry Cavill was the latter when it came to playing The Witcher.
My focus mainly lay with making sure that the Geralt of Rivia from the books was really shining through in my performance in the show.
He connected with the character so much that he even ended up fighting with the entire production and direction team because they weren't staying true to the books enough, eventually going as far to lose the role to Liam Hemsworth because he couldn't stand to play Geralt in the way that wasn't really true to him. Could there ever be a better Witcher than that?